Hello, and welcome back to the Rawkode Academy. This is another episode of Rawkode Live, the show where we take a look at cloud native and adjacent technologies to hopefully make your cloud native and microservice journey just a little bit easier. Today is no exception. We're taking a look at a fantastic project called Perses. This allows us to do dashboarding as code, which has been a lifelong goal of mine for many, many years. Guiding us today on our journey is Nicholas. Hey man, how you doing?
Hello, hello. Doing great, doing great. How's it going, Dave?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. I'm very, very excited for today's episode. I can't wait to show people what Perses can do. But before we talk about Perses and what it is, could you just take a few moments to say hello, tell us a little bit about Nicholas?
Yeah, sure, sure. Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone. My name is Nikos Takash. I'm a software engineer I already working in different things, but on the last 5 years or six or more, maybe, I've been working mostly with observability stuff around like CNCF ecosystem, Prometheus, Thanos, OpenTelemetry, and Perses on the last 2 years already. Like I'm open source contributor, maintainer from Perses, maintainer from Prometheus operator, and pushing code like around the community, and that's basically me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. You're involved in quite a few projects. So obviously open source is what you're doing day in and day out, which is fantastic. But also, I mean, it must be hard trying to juggle all these responsibilities, right?
Yeah, like it's a little bit, like especially when you like sometimes you getting the maintainer role when you are mostly working on the project on daily basis, and out of sudden your priority suites, and then you need to kind of keep like maintaining the project, but you are not working with the project like on your daily basis. So sometimes like Perses, at the moment I'm working in Perses like by the law, as I used to say. I'm not using Perses on daily basis, but I like to contribute. So free time, a weird kid, instead of going play video game, I like to be on my office writing code. But yeah, it's a very nice stuff, like learning a lot of things, getting to know a lot of people in the community. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely one of the great things of open source, right? You get to meet so many amazing people. You go to KubeCon, you get to chat to everyone, have a coffee, have a beer, whatever. It's yeah, such a great space to be. But then there's the hardships of, I know, I'm very fortunate that I don't maintain anything with any adoption whatsoever. So like people don't open loads of issues and drive by pull requests and stuff like that. But that is a real concern for especially CNCF adopted projects, right? There's a lot of people that just come along and yeah,
Yeah.
it must be hard for maintainers. I don't envy them at all.
Yeah, and especially because one of the things that I used to say to my friends is like maintaining an open source project, especially large open sources like Prometheus and OpenTelemetry, Perses, and so on.
Yeah.
It's like you need to be very like thoughtful about what you're going to accept, because any new code, it's like a new thing to maintain. Like the team is usually very like low amount of people maintaining the project, so you need to be very careful. And a lot of things is really funny. It's like usually you have a lot of people to writing code, but maintaining open source projects much more than writing code, like reviewing PRs, keeping up with documentation, and all those things.
Yeah, right. I don't want to turn this into a ethical conversation or maintainership or anything like that, but it has its challenges. But we can always get back to this, right? If the conversation takes us there. But I do want
Yeah.
to like get people acquainted with the Perses project. Let's assume they've not heard about it before, maybe until they're watching the session, whether that be today or in 6 months' time, and they're like, well, what is it? How is it going to benefit me? Can you give people the rundown on what it is, why they should adopt it, and what we're going to be seeing today?
Yeah, sure. Like, cool. So, what is Perses? Perses is basically an observability dashboard project. Like, you can build in dashboards like you do with like other solutions like Grafana or maybe Apache. There's one Apache project that I forgot the name. Like, you can build in dashboards, you can connect it to data sources, and you can create in your dashboards like we do with Grafana. But like, what is the main difference and reason like for using Perses and adopting Perses? Like the first one, Perses is truly open source and vendor neutral. Like Perses is an open source project under the CNCF landscape. It's maintained by different engineers in different companies. We have people like you have me at Corelogix, you have people in Amadeus, you have people in Red Hat, you have people like in other companies maintaining the project. So the project is not focused on any a single company to solve a single company problem. We are here to solve a community problem. One of the biggest advantages of Perses is the how easy and how like how can I say that like how easy and how like integrated in the ecosystem the dashboard as code concept is implemented. So Perses since the day one was developed to be developer friendly. So developers can build dashboards as code easily through the SDK. They can look to the dashboard definition or to the data source definition and be familiar with the spec. The spec will not change that much. And one of the very one of the biggest wishes is like Perses data model, like the APIs and the dashboard schema and data source schema become the like a community adopted schema. So other vendors can adopt the schema and use Perses schema for dashboards, and people can just migrate their dashboards from one vendor to another. What is really nice because we already have some vendors on the industry adopting the Perses schema, so you can basically eventually move your dashboards from one side to another without working very much on the dashboards. Again, it's very beautiful. Like when you're talking like that, we know the challenge because each vendor has its own plugin system panels and configurations that eventually like one panel will work in one vendor and not working on the other. But the idea is to reduce this friction as much as we can.
Nice. Awesome. So, I mean, I can only imagine the amount of work that goes into building a dashboarding thing must be, I mean, it must be quite a lot, right? Because I am fortunate, I don't know, fortunate or unfortunate, you can take it whatever way you want, right? But I used to work for Influx Data, the people behind it, InfluxDB. And this is something that they struggled with a lot. It's like they had a really great, and they still do, like fantastic database. Um, and they tried for a while, like InfluxDB 1, I think, relied on Grafana. InfluxDB 2, they decided, oh, we're going to ship our own. And they had like a project called Chronograph, which also worked with InfluxDB 1. But maintaining that was such a time sink away from their core business model that with InfluxDB 3, which is now out, the Rust rewrite that's now out now, they don't have a UI at all. And now it's just like, use anything off of the shelf because it's not a simple thing to build. You have to work with they only have to work with one data type. You're going to have to work with Prometheus, OpenTelemetry. There's once you get past all the different disparate data sources, there's the visualizations. Are you going to show a line graph, a bar graph? Are you going to show time series correlation? Do you have shared cursors before cells? Do you have different rows? Do you want to show donut graphs? I mean, it's infinitely complex, and it doesn't really seem to have. There's not like a fixed scope. So I didn't mean to scare you away from being an open source contributor and be like, oh shit, like let's just leave and call it quits, right? But it's a huge undertaking. Grafana has been building their product for over a decade. So I love that Perses exists and has taken up this mantle of being the open government, CNCF, completely open source approach. But damn, that's a lot of work. Like, I mean, there's a lot to do. So maybe you can give us a bit of a rundown on what can people do with Perses today. Let's start with that.
Yeah, sure. Like basically today we already have support. Like before I talk what we can do, I need to give an overview about like basics architecture of Perses. Perses is like a React application with a Golang backend, and all the deep work is on the React side, on the front end side, because like it's a dashboard solution. It's mostly front end, and the architecture of Perses is based on plugins. It's a plugin system. So everything inside Perses is a plugin. Data source is a plugin. Panels are plugins, and many other things are plugins in Perses. And we can load all those plugins in runtime. So this is like a very TLDR thing about Perses. Okay. So based on that, like native and ready plugin that we have from very long time is Perses plugin. So you can connect Perses into a Prometheus compatible API like Prometheus, Thanos, Mimir, Cortex, whatever. And you can query your time series. You can build in time series panel, bar charts, all those things, tables, and so on. As time passed, I think last year maybe we had Grafana Tempo data source where you can query your traces in Grafana Tempo and render them in a panel as well. And during KubeCon, we were finishing the creation of the plugin system to make it more easy to creating new plugins to new contributors, because we start to getting a lot of interesting on the project and say, okay, but I want to, my logs are on Elasticsearch, how I can connect Elasticsearch on Perses, how I can connect ClickHouse on Perses, and so on. Like you, David, asked me how to connect it, like InfluxDB in Perses. So we finished the migration in March or April, if I'm not wrong. Like that allows we community extend Perses to adding new panels, to add new data source types, or any kind of plugins that we can see. Like for example, we have a colleague sharing on the Perses dev channel on this like CNCF channel, where he's embedding a plugin to have a chat, LLM chat inside Perses. So of course we need to have something like that. So you can extend Perses based on plugins. So this is what you can do today. You can query Prometheus and time series and Grafana Tempo, and we started having other contributions to provide ClickHouse data source and other data sources as well.
Sweet. So it's a really good position to be in, right? Because the plugin system is now in a position where companies can contribute. I guess there's, and because it's a CNCF official project now, right? Like, hopefully these other database companies come forward and start contributing as well to have their database supported. I think, if you're working at, Redis, Mongo, DuckDB, I mean, we've got someone from Polar Signals in the chat here, Matthias. It would be really nice just to see these different databases work with Perses, because it really is, I think, the only option right now for a truly open source and well-established dashboarding tool.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So I'll ask you where the project is going later, but I think what we should do is share our screens and show people how they can get started, because, I said this at the top of the stream, but dashboards as code has been something. I mean, I literally think I've dreamed about it at some point, right? I've always wanted that. I don't like this ClickOps point and click and then just hope that it's there forever and I'm doing database backups and stuff. Like, we want to bring it into the full development lifecycle. We want to do Git pushes, we want to see diffs, we want pull requests, we want to track changes. And Perses delivers on this. And this is the thing that caught my eye. And I was like, this is it. Finally, we have what we want. So I'm hoping we can show people all the good stuff today.
Yeah, I hope too. So let's go.
No pressure. I don't mean I just lump all on. Good luck, mate. But if you can share your screen, we'll move over and we'll show people how to get started.
Yeah, sure.
So, if anyone watching has any questions, please feel free to drop them into the comment box. We will tackle them as we move through the session. All right, I can see cursor. I see us in the corner. I think we are good to go. Take it away, man.
Okay, cool. So I have a pretty empty Git repo that you guys can access later. Should I zoom in a little bit or no? It's fine.
Yeah, zooming in is always appreciated. Yes.
Okay, so another one. So first thing that I will start doing here, like you Perses you can like run for your computer. Like where is browser? Okay, like this is official Perses website. Okay, you have like under docs section we have some user docs and installation and configuration and so on. So you can basically install Perses from the source. You can git clone and you can build in Perses on your machine. You're gonna need like Go, Node, and npm, or you can use an existing Perses Docker image if you want to run it quickly, So what I'm gonna do here, like just to get some time, is like I will run from Docker container, so it's pretty fast. I will creating a Docker compose file. We will need to configure some some code here. So just copy and paste. Like what we have here, Perses image. This config file is where we are going to define like how Perses instance will work, like what is the kind of data store that we're going to use. We can use file system, or we can use MySQL, if I'm not wrong, to be our data store. You can configure like where your dashboards are available, where the data sources are available. In this case, like data sources and projects. And we're going to understand better what is project here. So let me get the config files here. So Perses, and then the first thing is going to be config.yaml. Okay, here we have a base configuration. Like this is for local development, so I'm telling like hit only files. I don't have any kind of authentication authorization configured. Okay, the database I choose to run as file, and I'm like Perses allows you publish your resources like data source, projects, dashboards, like in two different extensions. You can choose YAML or JSON, like whatever you prefer. I personally prefer YAML, so we're going to use YAML. What is the folder where we're going to like store the resources, and the provisioning folder where we're processes keep watching for new data sources, new projects, and reload the UI. So with that configuration, I think we can already see Perses running. Let me see. Docker Compose up. For people using Kubernetes, we also offer a Helm chart that you can easily install Helm install, and you're gonna getting all the configuration out of the box with minimal setup requirement. So if you're gonna localhost 8080, like this is Perses UI, okay? Like of course we do have dark theme because it's a dev tool, so you must have, this is the first feature.
Obviously, yeah.
And what you can see here, you can see admin with some global variables, and we're gonna get in on these concepts soon. Global data source, global variables, and global secrets. You can also see live config. And you can start interacting with the UI if you want. We can, for example, creating a Rawkode project. Like every dashboard in Perses is attached to a project. And I like to think projects as Kubernetes namespaces, okay? And then you can creating dashboards, you can define variables, you can define data sources, and like all those configurations, they are attached to this single project, which means that other projects cannot see variables and data sources that are inside this project, okay? We also have the notion of global variables and global data sources and global secrets. As the name suggests, it's global. Any project can use the resources that you define as global, okay? So what is nice, especially about global variables, like probably everybody using Grafana already have this use case. You have a variable that's every dashboard in your company should be using, like cluster name. And every dashboard is defining cluster name over and over again. And one day you are changing the label values, you are loading the cluster name variable, and you need to change all your dashboards. Using global variables, you can create in the cluster name variable here, and all the dashboards will out of the box getting this variable as well. So if someday you need to change anything on this variable, you change it on the global variables, and it will be automatically replicated to all dashboards because they are inheriting it from the global configuration. Okay, and this is very useful because like changing all the dashboards all the time, sometimes it's tough, especially if you're not using dashboard as code. Okay, cool. So let's move back to Cursor. Let it running here. Let's add in more few other configurations. Like I will add a project configuration under this folder, project.yaml. And I will add a data source as well. Data source.yaml. So if you look to this spec, like project and data source, let me put it side by side, if I could. Yeah. Is it familiar, right? Like this is Kubernetes spec mostly. Like even if you're not running in Kubernetes, Perses API speaks Kubernetes API. You can read here and you can easily identify the kind of resource you're creating, the name, and you are pretty familiar with spec. You know that from resource to resource, you expect a different spec. And this is very, very interesting because we also offer a Perses operator, and there is minimal translation here because Perses API speaks Kubernetes-like manifest. We can easily make this a CR under the cluster without translating later between CR and the actual API call. So to not mention, this is easier to read. Okay, so we create a project. This is the minimum information we need for project. And this is a data source, a global data source. We are using PromLab, so thank you, Julius. And yeah, that's it. Like we are going to update the Docker Compose. I'm pretty sure I need to start container, and that is it. Let me see. Let's go back to UI. We already have the default project here as we created, and we also have global data sources. We have it here. Okay, we can have some configurations like adding display, labels, data sources. They have two methods of working like this Prometheus data source. You can use direct access, so it's basically browser doing HTTP requests, like fetch requests to the data source address, or you can use a proxy. And like in production environments, we usually suggest you using proxy because it goes from Perses UI, and who's making the HTTP request is Perses backend. So if you need to handle secrets, if you need to handle all other kind of sensitive data, like proxy is the way to go. In proxy, we also have ability to control what are the paths that we want to fetch. Like, imagine that on your API, you have a different path to handle query ranges. You have a query range altogether without the underscore in splitting the words. Cool. So this is the bare minimum. We can already create dashboards. We can come here and like Rawkode live, and then we can add a group. First group. Groups are basically roles in Grafana, and every panel in Perses must be inside a group. You cannot have panels not being part of a group. Okay. And you can start adding, like, let me see, default. We mark the data source as default. Like if you have more data sources, we could probably select the others here. Let me try, I don't know, node is CPU seconds total. Yeah, it seems pretty nice. We also have variables.
You're missing an R, an interval.
Oh, that's true, interval. And no, not a 4 anymore. You see, we also have variables. We have interval, we have rate interval, all the special variables we are used to use in Grafana. And let me see. Oh, no way. I copied it wrong. By mode. So maybe, yeah. What I'm missing?
Do you mean
Oh,
by node or mode?
I'm missing. I forgot how to write in
Ah,
from Creole expressions. So node, CPU usage, total. You can do a lot of configurations in terms of settings. You can like button, table, min, max, main. I think it's average, maybe, yeah, average. All the configurations regarding thresholds, regarding all the things that we are used to doing Grafana as well. You can add it here. You can resize, and like that's it. This is a Perses dashboard. Like if you come here and look to the spec, where is spec? Okay, this is the spec. We can see again, this is Kubernetes like spec. And you can see like, okay, I have panels, I have layouts. It's basically defining the grid system size, how many panels I will have on each row, and so on. And details about the panels. Like, let me see. Remember, I'm mentioning that everything in Perses is a plugin. So as we can see, the time series chart we are using is also a plugin. So as we can see, plugin, the kind, this time series, and then we have the spec of plugin. So every other panel inside Perses is also a plugin, which makes Perses super extensible. We can creating new plugins and ship as part of the core project, or if you in your company you're doing something and you need a very crazy plugin panel that shows you, I don't know, some weird data format, you can write in your plugins and build your own Docker image embedding this plugin in there. Cool. So far so good. Questions?
yeah, I guess I'm curious about a couple of things. So currently we're creating in Prometheus, we're using PromQL, we've got access to variables. Like these are all the kind of bare essentials I would expect to see in a dashboarding tool, which is very nice. You mentioned that all the different visualizations are plug-in. So I guess I'm curious, what visualizations or panel types do we have available just now? Um, what is the process of adding new plugins? Is there a plan for like some sort of package manager, like npm or something, to bring these in, or do you build your own container image? Let's start with one question at a time, right? What type of panel visualizations do we have?
Sure. Like at the moment, those are the type of panels we have available. We have scatter chart, time series, tracing Gantt chart, go chart, stat table, time series table, trace table, bar chart, markdown, pie chart, and stats history chart.
Nice.
Those are the panels. We have a lot of like development recently on the table panel to allow us join series, transform, and do all the magics that we can do with tables. And we constantly having new issues asking for new tables and so on. Since the new plugin system is available, we are mostly open for contributions for new panels as well. I remember seeing some pull requests under review to have flaming graphs because we already have people looking forward to have profiles in Perses as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Regarding the other process for creating new plugins, basically like issue on the repository, and like we're discussing within the community, like there's no formal process yet. Like last time I remember we talking about that at KubeCon, we need to figure out like what's going to be core plugins that will be maintained and shipped, maintained by the Perses maintainers and shipped with the core Perses image, with the Docker image we are running right now. And what are going to be community plugins that we can even ship with the same Docker image, but not being maintained by the official Perses teams. For example, I don't know, maybe someone say, "Oh, I need SQLite plugin." Like community loves the idea, but we don't have anyone using SQLite on the team member. We don't have like like power to maintain the plugin as it should be. But someone in the community wants to do that, and wants to offer donate the plugin, and like they can publish in viewership as part of the core if it makes sense.
Okay, so what's the failure mode then? So we're talking about doing something here that is as code. So if in my YAML I am saying that this panel needs to be a time series V7 panel, and that plugin isn't available, does the apply fail and everything with it? Is it just isolate that single panel and that becomes a
Yeah,
failure? Like, how does this cascade down?
only this single panel will fail.
Okay, that's good. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Now,
Yeah.
side quest time, because I don't think this is anything you wanted to talk about, but my curiosity was piqued. When you were in Cursor, I realized in the Docker Compose we're mounting in those 3 different YAML files, and the database is disabled because I think we're using local file for state. Is that right?
Yeah. Here we are using local file system for persistence. Yeah, you're right.
So does this mean that our /Perses is just now full of YAML files describing the entire state of this Perses configuration?
Yeah.
Ah, nice. I like that.
Yeah. Good. So you had another question regarding CLI and npm packages and so on. I
Yeah.
might not 100% sure, but like because I'm not into the plugin systems development, but from what I saw, while our colleagues talking about, it's like we have a CLI that we're gonna see in action as well, named Perses CLI. And if understood correctly, we're going to have a scaffolding command to help people creating new plugins. So Perses team, sorry if I'm saying something wrong, but this is what I briefly remember about this subject.
Does that mean that in the same way we can go to the artifact hub and look at, eBPF rules, Falco rules, Helm charts, that we may just see a section for Perses plugins in the future?
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Didn't thought about that. Like we already discussed the ideas of having a marketplace to be able to like find these plugins, dashboards, data sources in the future when the plugin system is more like adopted across the community. But that's really a nice idea of publishing to some sort of registry. Yeah.
All right, that's all my questions for now. I'll remind anyone watching, if you do have questions, drop them in the chat and we'll do our best to get to them. Failing that, we can move on and take a look at something else.
Amazing. So let's go. Let's see some dashboard as code in action. Just for now, let me start like uh, initial commit. So what I'm gonna do here, like we have two, like Perses allows you creating dashboards in, I would say 4 different ways. Okay, through the UI as we just did. You can write in your YAML or JSON definition by yourself if you are brave enough, or you can use one of the SDKs that Perses project is providing at the moment. We have Golang SDK and we have QLang SDK. So all the data model of Perses behind the scenes, the plugin system, the dashboards, models, and so on, they are based on QLang. And we are generating other codes like TypeScript models from QLang because it's just easier for us to maintain a single language and generating code from there. So you can creating dashboards using QLang and you can creating dashboards using Golang. I'm not a QLang guy, so I'm going to show you right now how to do that using Golang. Okay. So it's pretty simple. Go mon init. Let me see. Perses stack. Yeah, it's fine. And we need to add a few dependencies that I need to, of course, look to another place to take this because I don't remember by heart. Give me a second.
We got a for QLang being mentioned. I'm equally thrilled because I am a QLang kind of guy, and I'm disappointed we're doing Go. But you know what?
Sorry.
Maybe I'll feel brave enough to take the reins off you at some point and try and do the Q example. So.
Yeah, let's see. It's KubeCon. Yeah, no, not this one. Um, Too many hippos. Where is that? Okay, I found it. I found it or not? No. Where is that? It was just in front of me. Okay, yeah, I do find it. Do find it. I would look to the dashboard to the hippo I used at KubeCon as a reference. Um, so yeah, we need to add like go get Perses to add Perses as a dependence, and this will allow us using the dashboard as code. So just create main.go package main and then func main. Yeah, that's everything that we need.
So how good is Cursor right in Perses Go SDK and infrastructure as code dashboards as code?
That's a really good question. Never did that. So we can try later. Like that would be interesting.
Yeah, I want
So
that. I mean, let's not do it right now. Like you do your demo, but I've got a crazy idea, so we'll see.
yeah. So first thing that we need to do, like, it's a Go program, right? So we can leverage everything that we have on the Go ecosystems, like flags. What else? We can use like unit tests to creating your dashboards and test it. Like it's a Go program in the end.
Yep.
So first thing we're gonna do is like set up in the SDK. Let me get a few things here. Copy all those imports. And then we can first create the dashboard. Like the main thing to create the dashboard is dashboard.new. So what is missing?
You have an extra A on dashboard.
Dashboard.new. Thank you. Like you're really good pair programming.
It's
So
easy when you're watching, right? When you're typing, that's when your brain cells disappear on you. But
yeah. So dashboard.duration, like just define the duration. It's gonna be time dot hour. I can remove this 24, and then we can provide the dashboard name. It's gonna be this one, and dashboard. We can assign a data source with dashboard data at data source. The data source needs to be the name of the data source we created. So let me check it here. It's going to be Prometheus demo, if I'm not wrong. So
are
it's
there lookup
Prometheus
methods as well to make this more dynamic?
Sorry.
Could I do dashboard lookup and find one or get a list of data sources? Like if I wanted this to be dynamic. Because right now Prometheus demo is kind of, it's a hard coded string. So I'm just
Oh
curious.
yeah. Like you could like there is one option in Perses. There's one option in Perses named data source discover, where you can provide an endpoint where the Perses can do like service discover for data sources. So you don't need to hard code it. You can, and also you can just assume eventually that's going to use the default data source for the project or for the entire instance.
Yeah. I'm assuming, could I define the data source as part of this Go SDK as well?
Uh, I don't think we have that yet, but let me check. Process model. I don't think so. No. Probably only the dashboards. Yeah.
Oh, not
Feature
yet.
request. Feature
Not
request.
yet.
Not yet. So what we're gonna do here, it's like let me get like all the configuration. I'm showing like how to define even the data source inside the project just to be easier, and people be aware of the capabilities. So let me copy the other import we need here.
So you are defining a data source, right?
Sorry.
You are defining the data source. If you're
Yeah,
passing
I'm
in,
definitely defining it. Yeah,
okay.
definitely defining it inside the dashboard instead of using the existing one. So what is happening? Could not import, no requirement. I think I already got it. Maybe we change directory. Go Perses SDK. Yeah, go SDK, and then we have directories. We do have dashboard. This is the part where we forgot where the things are.
I'll let you work this out before I ask you the hard question then.
Yeah. Okay, give me a moment. Let me look into a different source.
Yeah, take your time.
Yeah, like Perses community dashboards. Yeah, this is nice because I can even show you the community dashboards. Like this is a repo where we ported a lot of Prometheus dashboard, like dashboards from different CNCF projects to Perses. So we can everything is written using Golang SDK. So
Oh,
if you
nice.
need the Prometheus or Node Exporter or Thanos or Kubernetes API server dashboard, you can just use it. What I want to see is some example of the data source. Let me see here. Maybe you have this here. Let's go. That's it. Okay. Where's the path I need? This Prometheus.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so it seems not existing anymore. I'm looking to a different place. Okay, we're gonna manage.
Ask Cursor.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good question. Let's do. Let's see if Cursor can help us.
It's surprisingly good, or I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised by how good AI is these days when you give it just enough information to be dangerous. Like, it can really help.
Yeah, I think I'm expecting it will be able to find the
Oh, yeah,
search.
it's going to be able to go through the dependency tree much faster than
Yeah.
you will be able to.
Okay. Removes my dependency. Okay. Let me see. Vibe coding on the live stream.
There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Okay, no, let me remove yours. Never mind. Like while cursor is trying, let me see if I can figure it out. The dashboard as code. Let me look into the documentation, right? Data source.
So the Prometheus structure is just
Yeah,
in data source. It doesn't seem to be Go SDK/data source.
yeah, yeah. Okay, cursor. Thank you. Yeah, this is the data source. And then what do we have? Oh, we do have. This is not what I want.
Oh, I seen a Prometheus. Oh no.
I see in the end from DS. Yeah, this is what we want. Like remove, like go back this one, this, okay, and then yeah, like docs better than cursor.
Ah, there we go. A plugin, of course.
Yeah, we
So it probably
changed it.
wasn't core, and now it's a plugin. That's probably what changed here, right?
Yeah, let me see. Maybe go mod tie dye. Okay. So in theory, everything. This is what the minimum structure we need for dashboard. Like as we can see, we don't have any panels, we don't have anything. We are just creating um, the dashboard. Let me just see if we need also assign the project, because dashboard project name, and then we're gonna choose default. Okay. So this is where I introduce the like go install like Perses. Let me just upgrade my Perses CLI for the latest version. Da, 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 da. Like this is the CLI which allows us interact with the Perses instance. You can do a lot of things in there. You can like uh, log in. You can list your project. You can creating a project, data source, and other things through the CLI. Those are the available commands. So let me do one thing. Docker compose up. Let Perses running. And then Perses CLI login HTTP localhost 88. So I'm just logging with the CLI into the Perses instance I have running localhost.
Yep.
And then I can run Perses doc. Doc is stands for dashboard as code, build, and then provide the source where I have the dashboard defined. And then it will output this into the folder. Okay, so this is the configuration. Let me do one thing. Okay, no, I would not do that. Like one thing that we can do right now, we have the dashboard, and then we have Perses CLI linked. Linked command will basically apply a set of validation rules over the manifests to make sure this is a compliant Perses schema. So it's going to look, oh, this is a data source, then it will do a set of validations. We'll look to the kind, this is a dashboard, that will do another set of validations. Resources look good because it was generated by the SDK, but anyway, it's nice because eventually you can by accident changing the dashboard or changing something like or your data source. Another interesting capability of this Perses CLI is like you can extend the existing rules. So imagine that on your company, you allow that all dashboards, you agree that all dashboards name will be snake case. Okay, you don't have like camel case. Every dashboard is snake case. So you can provide a rules file for Perses CLI linked command, and the rules file it's based on JSON path and common expression language to run the assertions over the JSON, the dashboard definition YAML, or a spec,
Oh, nice.
There is also modes for this linked command. It could be the offline or online mode. Offline mode will apply the rules using the available rules on the version you are running, and the online mode will try to apply the rules based on the Perses server that you have signing in. So for example, we are local host right now. Imagine that we are trying to use a plugin that's not available in this Perses instance or version different, then you can link against a specific Perses version using the online mode.
All right.
Cool. So time like Perses CLI apply, we can just apply the dashboard, and then we can come back to Perses and go to the default, and we will see the dashboard here. Okay. So blank dashboard, we didn't create anything. Creating a panel, it's pretty similar with what we did so far. We can just, for example, come here and say dashboard add panel group. Panel group, it's going to be panels, like add panel group. And the panel group will have a name, like for example, CPU. And then we have some panel groups config, like for panel group, we have panels per line. For example, imagine I want one panel per line. And we can do the same, like let me just copy and paste some code here to be a little bit quicker. We can add in a panel CPU usage, providing the PromQL expression, some panels configuration as we saw on the UI. What's missing? Maybe this one, and we need to add time series panel. Like everything is a different Go module. So we need to add in as we need. I need time series panel. Then I can add the dependence for time series panel. Now I need, I don't know, bar chart, and then you include bar chart.
Yeah, that was my hard question, is that when you push all of this panel visualizations to plug in, how do you give an as code approach? But you're relying on these plugins being written in Go and having their own Go dependency I can pull in, right? Like that's how it's. So I'm assuming that might be quite tricky for the queue aspect of this then, and that the queue support is as good as the plugin support as long as people generate the types. So
yeah.
But if it is all Go, then I mean I can also just use queue get Go. So I mean I guess it's not the end of the world.
Let me add this one, and then we also have query one, this one. Thanks Perses maintainers to keep the documentation updated. Let me just change for time series panel. Seems doable. Let me see again. Perses CLI, deck build, Perses CLI linked, and oops, without the help.
No.
CLI apply. This will just apply to Perses, okay? And we can see.
Hey.
Yeah, and then this is the flow. You keep doing, you keep doing, like you keep adding the panels. And what is really nice here, like for example, it's like let's imagine that we have this working, okay? Let me try to do something. Let me see if it will work. Like you have, like, the idea is you're building your dashboard as codes, you're testing locally, everything is fine, but you want to eventually push it to a real Perses instance. You have CLI. You can basically, on GitHub Actions, you can go install the CLI and execute all the commands we are executing from our computer right now, from my computer right now to a Perses instance. Okay, but we are using GitHub Actions heavily on the Perses project. We everybody in the community is mostly using GitHub Actions. We have other people using GitLab Runners as well, but like for now, we did something which is providing a Perses dashboard as code GitHub action for people. So we can just now come here and say, okay, it's GitHub. Oh, it's the folder like GitHub/workflows, and then dac.yaml, and we can just create it. Like this is the workflow. Let me just make sure I'm using the latest version from the workflow. Let me look to where is this? Go link dashboard LinkedIn. Yep. This one. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm using. Copy it here. It's version. It's gonna be latest. And I think we can just remove it. And we're gonna do is we're going to use demo.persis. So we have a live demo if you want to watch. Super secure, admin. Okay, seems this is not admin anymore. Surprise. Okay.
I think that means you've been fired.
Yeah. So admin, we can see it here. Okay, so let me try to do one thing. Is let me do. I think let's creating a project here. Rawkode live. And then I will need to add to this repository that I created right now some credentials. What I think I won't be able to do it more because it changed the. It's not a admin anymore. Let me see if I can. No. Okay, I think I will not be able to show what I want to show you.
That's okay.
Like yeah, like I can even show like maybe only the yeah, not even this. Like yeah, like it's a very shame. I would love to show you like GitHub in action, but like probably I will need to share a recording with you. I do have a recording of this working.
Well, I think we can imagine, like, we've already seen the fact that you've got the Perses CLI. You can do the build and the lin and the apply, right? The GitHub Actions is really just automating that one step. So, I mean, we're still, it's really, I think everyone's going to be clear about what that delivers and why that's important. So I think it's all right.
With the GitHub action, there is one very like caveat that's really nice. Is the concept of ephemeral dashboards that we have in Perses. Like when you are pushing your like if you're using Perses GitHub action, whenever you open a PR, it will run the build and the lint command, and then it will push the dashboard for the Perses instance, but it's not a usual dashboard. It's a dashboard with the kind he says ephemeral dashboard. So it's a dashboard with a TTL with a time to live attached to it, which is really nice. And when you are doing that, the name of the dashboard is the name of you define it plus the PR number. So you can creating dashboards, share with your teammates. They can review the code and even see how the dashboard is looking on like when it's being used in the UI. Given their comments, you can iterate work again. It will push another version from the same dashboard. And after, I don't know, maybe one day, maybe 8 hours, you can configure the time to live of ephemeral dashboard. Perses server will clean up the ephemeral dashboards. So it's really nice for this development life cycle,
Yeah, that's really cool. Actually, being able to do that, build and apply within the pull request, and even at that point, the people reviewing it can compare side by side with the PR dashboard and maybe the primary dashboard to see if the changes are actually doing what they suggest. So, yeah, I like that
Yeah,
completely. Very cool.
and the fact that you have the PR number on the dashboard, sorry, on the ephemeral dashboard name. If you have two people working on the same dashboard, you can see side by side by the PR number and see the difference and so on. And when you merge to master, the GitHub action is smart enough to identify, okay, I'm now merging to main or whatever you mean as main on your company, and then it will publish as a non-ephemeral dashboard to the Perses instance.
Nice.
Yeah, I think, let me see one thing. I think on these key become no. Let me see here. Yeah, no, we don't have it. Yeah, but yeah, that's the idea. You got it.
All right.
So
Is
I
there anything
think
else you want to show, or shall I put us back to big face mode?
no, I think it's mostly that. Like around that,
Yeah.
you can write in the code as you show you. Again, as I mentioned, this is a Go program in the end. You can use whatever you want. You can using flags to make your program more, your dashboards more customizable. Like for example, I hard coded the name of the data source, the name of the project. But you can either using some features like data source discovery, or imagine that you want to change the name of the dashboard based on some external inputs. Like you have a four golden signals dashboard that you are deploying for every team in the company. Whenever a new team is created, you can just build this dashboard with passing a flag as team name and template it. Like it's Go programming in the end.
All right. Awesome. Let's jump back over. Thank you so much for that demo. I mean, it's already a really perfect ability to do all of those types of code, do the percent of project, simulate it,
Um, I don't know if it's general, but after you transition, your audio was a little bit like clunky to me.
oh no.
Now it's better.
How's that?
Yeah, no, that's good now. But like right after the
Yeah.
transition, I didn't listen to you.
I have no idea where that was, but I'll sit closer to the mic. So, I mean, I think it's such a great piece of software, right? We've got this dashboarded tool where everything is as code. We can do queue, we can do go, we describe everything, we bake it into pull request process. The ephemeral dashboards was the icing on the cake. I did not know that was a thing, and I love it already. So that's fantastic. Everything is a plugin. So, if something doesn't work the way you want, you can just go and contribute that, whether it's open source or proprietary within your own organization, do whatever works for you. Something we didn't cover, but the dashboard that we spun up with Docker Compose didn't have any authentication, but as we've seen from the demo instance, authentication is right there, and I even seen an RBAC tab, right? So if you need to expose and manage things on a more granular level, that all appears to be there too.
Yeah,
I would just go out on a limb and guess, but I'm assuming I can hook that up to any OIDC provider, whether that be my Google account, Citadel, anything I want is just going to work. So,
exactly.
what we have here is a complete, ready to go dashboard system that's extensible, and I don't really think anyone could need any more than that. However, I will ask the question of: we have seen where Perses is today. What is on the roadmap of the project? Where do you plan on taking this? What are you working on? What should people expect over the next 12 months?
That's cool. That's cool. So we're expecting much more plugins. Now we have finished the plugin system. This is open for contributions. We already have people working on SQL plugin for connecting with SQL databases. We already have people working on profiles, visualization, and profiles database data sources. We are heavily working to improving existing plugins that is still missing some capabilities, like a table plugin. In Grafana, this is very powerful. You can do a lot of things with Grafana tables for time series. We are constantly improving the data source. And like adoption, this is what we're expecting the most. We already have, like in the last KubeCon, we had a lot of tractions, people asking and so on. And one of the requests that we did. It's like ask your vendor to supporting Perses data model. We already have vendors doing that. Like ask your vendor for doing that. This is like yet another step on your non-vendor lock-in and observability. We already have open telemetry. We are now trying to achieve the same with dashboards. Of course, this is not easy. There is always be translations between solutions, but it's better than we definitely have until nowadays.
Nice. Awesome. All right. I'm assuming the project is also open to all sorts of contributions. So, just go to the GitHub, right? Look up Perses. There's lots of issues there. You can start kicking the tires on. Even, it doesn't have to be code if you're not a coder. You can do documentation. You can triage issues. There are lots of ways to get involved. And I'm assuming that there's a Perses channel on the CNCF Slack that people can also join for questions and contributing.
Definitely. Perses-dev on CNCF Slack channel. Please join us. Welcome, community. Everybody is welcome to contribute any kind of contributions, issues, PR reviews, triage, documentation, like feedback, especially if you're using and having like troubles on using something. That's also very valuable for us because we can only improve based on feedback, because after you're using some software for a very long time, you start being biased by the way you are using that. So new users are always welcome.
The blinkers come on.
Definitely.
Be hard. You need outside perspective. So.
Yeah, you're always too used for the problem.
Yeah. All right. Any last words for the audience before we wrap this session up?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, David. Really nice session. Like to talk about Perses. I love to talk about observability and especially open source solutions. So I hope that you people got a little bit of excitement seeing Perses and like come to join us. It's been an amazing journey so far.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, for doing that demo, answering all the questions, and hanging out with me. I'm sure we can do a follow-up in 6 months, 12 months, whenever, to take a look at that new plugin of the system and hopefully see a blossoming CNCF project. That's all for today. Well, thank you all for watching as well. We'll see you all next time. And until then, have a great week. Thanks all.
Thank you.
The stream is done, the code is neat. A brand new dashboard can't be beat. The graphs are straight, the metrics flow. Look at all the things we know. So